The fierce war between Ukraine and Russia continues in its second year. The intensity of the war is increasing in eastern Ukraine. Russia was forced to withdraw from most of the cities it occupied at the beginning of the war. It was the successful operations of the Ukrainian armed forces that forced Russia to retreat. The Ukrainian army has the upper hand over Russia both on the ground and in the air. Although the Russian army is superior in terms of the number of military personnel, it cannot succeed against the Ukrainian army due to its inexperienced soldiers. The Russian army is losing thousands of soldiers on the front line every day. The Ukrainian army recently carried out a successful operation against the Russian occupiers in Kherson, known as the Gateway to Crimea. Strategic points of the Russian occupiers were targeted in the operation. As a result of the successful operation of the Ukrainian army, the Russian army suffered great losses. With this operation, the Ukrainian army came closer to taking back Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in 2014. Let's take a closer look at our analysis of the spectacular operation carried out by the Ukrainian army. Before our analysis, we have a short reminder for you. As Safe Zone, we present our analysis of the Russia-Ukraine war to you with an unbiased and accurate journalism approach. We would like you to support our team of experts who have made a great contribution to the preparation of these analyses. For this, we kindly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button. In recent days, the Russian army has intensified its offensive in the Kherson region. Kherson is very important for Russia as it is close to Crimea Peninsula. The Ukrainian army destroyed the Kerch bridge connecting Russia to Crimea in October 2022. The destruction of the Kerch bridge, a symbol of the annexation of Crimea, badly affected Russia's shipment of ammunition to the front. Because of this, Kherson has become much more important. Military shipments from Crimea by ships are first transferred to Kherson and then to other fronts. Kherson is also very important for Ukraine as it is close to Crimea, because Ukrainian President Zelensky wants to take back Crimea after liberating the occupied territories from Russian occupation. That's why the Ukrainian army is conducting surprise operations in Kherson. In the cities of Tavrisk and Chaplinka in Kherson, the Ukrainian army made an unexpected attack against the Russian army. In Chaplinka, located 80 kilometers from the front line, Russia was using a large building as a military base, which housed many soldiers and an ammunition depot. The Ukrainian army blew up one of the most important bases and ammunition depot of the Russian invaders. The Ukrainian army carried out serious work in 2 cities with reconnaissance drones before launching the operation. All that remained was to hit Russian targets. Russian soldiers, a military base and an ammunition depot were successfully destroyed with HIMARS missiles, which were added to the inventory of the Ukrainian army with the help of the United States. Ukraine's successes are not limited to Kherson Oblast. In many occupied cities, the Ukrainian army is destroying strategic points of the enemy. The Ukrainian Defense Forces announced the successful destruction of Russian targets in the Luhansk region in Kharkiv Oblast. The Ukrainian Air Force successfully destroyed a control point, 2 logistics centers, 3 ammunition depots, 6 electronic warfare stations, and 2 anti-aircraft systems with missile and artillery strikes. The Russian army has lost great power due to the operations carried out by the Ukrainian army. According to the latest statement from the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Russia's troop losses exceeded 160,000. The Ukrainian Armed Forces announced that more than 1,000 Russian soldiers were killed by the Ukrainian troops in the Bakhmut last week. The Ukrainian army is making history against Russia with successful operations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a statement last night, "In less than a week from March 6th, we managed to kill more than 1,100 enemy soldiers in the Bakhmut area alone. Russia's irreversible loss is right there, near Bakhmut." The Ukrainian army is waging a major battle against the Russian invaders in Bakhmut. In the last year, the most fierce battles have taken place in Bakhmut. Footage of a fearless Ukrainian soldier's success in a trench warfare battle against Russian invaders has been published. A soldier of the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces recorded the moments when he captured the Russian invaders' front with the camera he placed on his helmet. In images reminiscent of a war game, Russian troops are seen to be captured. The footage begins with the Ukrainian soldier opening fire on Russian soldiers in distance. Advancing to the Russian trenches, Ukrainian soldiers throw a grenade into a bunker. The grenade explodes at that moment. The Ukrainian soldiers then notice another group of Russian soldiers ahead. A big clash with the Russian soldiers begins. Exciting footage shows Russian soldiers captured alive. Ukrainian soldiers take Russian soldiers prisoner. The Ukrainian army has really smashed Putin's army to pieces. According to US intelligence, Russian leader Putin, who suffered huge losses in Ukraine, will need many years to rebuild his army. Avril Haines, America's Director of National Intelligence, said that Russia is not strong enough to make any new territorial gains this year, stating that the weakness of its army will increase Putin's tendency to use nuclear or cyber warfare. Haines stated that Russia does not seek conflict with the US and NATO. Russian leader Putin is running out of troops and ammunition. Even if Putin declares mobilization, he cannot find soldiers to fight on the front line. It has been known for a long time that he has an ammunition problem. Because of this, the disagreement between Putin and the Wagner Group boss Yevgeny Prigozhin escalated. Prigozhin said that Wagner Group soldiers died because the Russian Defense Ministry did not provide them with ammunition. Putin had authorized Prigozhin to use Russian prison inmates to fight at the front. The British Ministry of Defense said that Prigozhin, the boss of the Wagner Group, will be stripped of this authority due to his disagreement with Putin. Prigozhin has lost access to recruitment in Russian prisons due to his ongoing disagreements with the leadership of the Russian Defense Ministry. The British Defense Ministry said, Prigozhin will thus no longer be able to use prison inmates used as cannon fodder on the front line. Wagner Group is not the only one having problems with the Russian army. Chechen soldiers loyal to Kadyrov also have big problems with Russian commanders. Chechen soldiers who are found as fodder on the front lines are humiliated by Russian commanders because of their beliefs and race. With the losses at the front and the political conflicts, Putin is no longer able to continue this war. Putin, who is nearing the end of his political life, could admit his failure and abandon his plan to invade Ukraine at any moment. The Ukrainian army is receiving more and more weapons from Western and European states. In 2022, Ukraine was the third largest arms importer. Ukraine has managed to include in its inventory many important equipment such as HIMARS, Patriot, Leopard 2 tanks. No one can deny the success of the Ukrainian army. Behind the success is the Ukrainian leader Zelensky, who has created a great unity between the army and the people. What do you think about the operations carried out by the Ukrainian army? Do you think the conflict between the Russian army and the Wagner Group will escalate? Can Putin, who has lost troops and ammunition, cope with these problems? We are curious about your views. Follow us for more updates.